Hello, everybody. Welcome to A Pair of Normal Mediums. I'm Than, and this is Dr. Julie Starr.
Hello.
Hello. So tonight we're very excited we're going to talk a little bit about some of our experiences, one of which I have some spirit box recordings, and Julie has some amazing stories that I'm really excited about. But while we're doing that, we are going to also give the audience some free readings. So feel free to, and it's definitely encouraged to put your questions up there, and we will definitely get to them. I want to say that there has been trouble on Facebook with the chat. So if you are having trouble trying to communicate with us and we don't see it, it's because Facebook chat is having some issues. So I'm going to say that, and also tell you that you can go to our YouTube page, which isn't currently having those issues. So if you want to talk to us and you can't get through on Facebook, then hop over to our evolveme.com YouTube page, and we're live there as well. So very excited about that. And also, I do want to talk a little bit about some of Julie's recent experiences, which I thought were really exciting. While we wait for everybody to come on and put their questions in the chat, I would love to hear about your recent cat experience.
The spirit cat experience. Yeah. So last week we were talking about animals, and we were communicating with animals who had crossed over. And it occurred to me, I don't even think I talked about the spirit cat, and that would have been the place that talked about the spirit cat.
I know. I think we actually talked about it right after.
We talked about it right after. Okay. So I have some video of that. So I'll tell the story first. I put the video on Slack, but if you want to show that in a second, I'll get started talking about it. So anyway,
Absolutely.
So a lot of you know that I'm kind of like the dancing medium. So I set up my home security camera, and I will just have a good time, and I'll call in the ancestors, and I'll have these dance parties, and the guides, and I call in I have these dance parties, and all these orbs will show up, and I'll have these orbs that are just like spinning around me, and all. It's just really great fun. So I did one. The last one I did was in July, and I went through the video, and I saw this really bright orb come across the screen right.
I have one thing to say. Rachel Russell wrote in, and absolutely love you, Rachel. She said, does being a psychic make you more gorgeous? Because I mean, you both are. Aw, love you, Rachel. Thank you so much. You're just the sweetest.
That's so sweet.
Well, thank you. I hope so. Thank you. And okay. Rachel, if you have any questions for us, please feel free to put your questions in the chat, and Julie and I are doing readings as well tonight. So we'd love to hear from any of your questions that you have. So awesome. And sorry, Julie, go ahead.
Okay. So I have this really bright orb just come right across my chest like that. And so when I started just looking at it, I did some clips, and I slowed it down, because sometimes when I slow these orbs down, I'll see a face. I slowed this one down, and I was really surprised by what I saw. I've never seen anything like it before. So, but we can show that. Do you want to show that?
Absolutely.
And then I'll tell you there were experiences that happened after that. So yeah. Here I am. Just excuse me. I'm just having a great. She's got it on. Just play it, so I don't look so like that. Okay. So here it comes. See that? There's the orb, and then watch. This is going slow. So see this little sideways head and face.
Right here, right?
Right there. It's got a little looks like it has a little horn on it too. All right, now let it keep going up. And look, all right, here's a nose and two eyes.
Right here, nose and two eyes right here.
Yep. And then
And
keep going up. This is when I captured a face. Now here's but zoomed out, and you can see there's a little sideways head circled in black, and then you see the bigger one in yellow. What does that look like to you, the bigger one?
it looks like a cat.
And it looks like a cat. I was like,
Yeah.
I swear that looks like a cat, and he's got
Yeah.
a little gremlin in his mouth.
Yes.
You know how real cats will bring you mice and leave them
Mhm.
at your doorstep? This is like this cat face. He's got some kind of little something there in his mouth, and he just brought it right by me. Okay, so I didn't think
Oh
any
my
more
God.
about this. I didn't think any more about this. Not too much. I thought it was cool. I posted it, showed it to a couple of friends, and a couple of people right off the bat saw cats. Some people I had to show them the cat. and it was maybe okay, few weeks later, 3-4 weeks later, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I swear to you, right above me, it was this huge hologram. It looked like a hologram of this cat about this big, like hovering over
Wow.
me. And I'm like, whoa. So the psychologist in me is saying, oh, that's a hypnopompic hallucination. I just woke up and I'm having this hallucination. There's this cat hovering over me. Cool. I mean, it's really cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So this goes by, and then gosh, maybe another week or so later, I wake up, and this time it wasn't like a objective visual. I see something over me. It's more
Right.
subjective. I'm like seeing a cat like in my head, and I have this feeling like there's this cat like right in my face. And I'm like, whoa, there's a cat in my face. And so I just kind of pushed it back. I used energy and just kind of pushed it back off of me, and I went back to sleep, and that was that. Okay. So it gets even better. Maybe a week or two later, my like living cat is sleeping on the bed with me. I wake up because all of a sudden she like jumps, and my heart rate just like, I wake up and my heart rate's going boom, boom, boom. What the heck just happened? And she darted under the bed, and she did not come back out again until the next day, like late in the day. She stayed under there, and I'm thinking, what in the world was that? And so I went into my state and my space where I can communicate with spirits and spirit guides. And
Right.
I said, what was that? And this woman said, well, if you look closely, it has very long whiskers. And I'm like, seriously? So, okay. Now this happened just the other day. I'm sitting in here. I teach online psychology part-time. I'm in here, I'm grading papers, and it's probably 2 a.m. because I sit up till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I'm sitting up, I'm grading papers, and I hear this crunch in the back of the house. And I'm like, okay, well, the cat just got into something, knocked something over, didn't think too much of it. When I got up to went to bed, I opened the door was closed. I have 2 adjoining rooms in there because one is my meditation room and there's the bedroom. I open the door and I have this singing bowl that sits up on a shelf about at eye level. So we're talking 5, 3 inches, like off the floor on a shelf about this wide. And it had moved off of its cushion, and that little like thing that you ding with it was on the floor. And I'm like, whoa, there was only one cat in there, and that cat does not jump. That cat would never jump up on that shelf and knock it over. There was no explanation for that thing to be on the floor. I said, okay, well, I haven't smudged the house in a while, and I do get a lot of paranormal activity. So before I went to bed, I smudged the house really good. I used the smoke, the frankincense, and I did, my Lord's Prayer and all of that to just clear out, because, this is what I do all the time. And I do this for other people too, is I will clear their spaces, because I have a lot of experience with this, because get so much of it. I cleared my space, did some salt, went to bed. And actually, so this is when I was talking to the guides again later. I'm like, what was that knocked that off? And again, it's like long whiskers. So, and it hit, I didn't even tell you this. Before I went to bed, before I even smudged, I'm standing in my room and I look down and I see a spirit energy on the floor. And the way this looks through my eyes, and I see it with my eyes, it's not in my head. I see it with my eyes right out here. It's all this undulating, transparent energy. It's like if you see heat waves coming off of the asphalt. I saw it coming, like going this way on my carpet, and then all these little black spots in it. And I'm like, oh, there's a spirit. And I had the sense that it was an animal, some kind of animal, because it was right next to my dog. And then I looked over, and then there was this big bright blue spirit guide light. So my spirit guides show up as blue lights, and I'm like, okay, they're pointing something out. And so that's when I went ahead and smudged. And then later, of course, I'm asking them about that, and they're telling me it's cat. It's a spirit cat. So, and that's when I put 2 and 2 together. I said, wait a minute, I have that video that looked like a cat from way back in July, and this is like how many months ago?
Yeah, like 3-4 months ago. Yeah.
And I had noticed that little thing. I said, you know what? That's a little spirit guide for me. And he's making himself known. I have this cat that's cat energy, cat spirit around me. Doesn't look like any kind of cat I've ever owned before, or that has been my friend before. And they're catching little gremlins, because I need that. Oh my God, I just saw a blue light right there.
They're listening to you. Yeah.
The spirit saying, yes, they're confirming for me this is true. Because I get so many like parasitic energies and things that come in. I'm constantly having to clear. I'm constantly having to raise my vibration. I'm praying all the time. And they've sent me this cat spirit. And, and I know this sounds nuts. I know it sounds nuts. Okay. But dadgummit, I have it on video.
Yeah. I have witnessed some of your, some of the activity that's just around you. And, if you know Julie, you'll definitely believe it. So
yeah, you've seen it. We were in Portland. We were in Portland, and we were doing this workshop, and we did the seance, and Fayon and I both went into this really, really deep trance, and I didn't really know much about what was going on, because we went into such a deep trance. But when we went back to our room, we were having visual phenomena together. That we were seeing, and it was so cool. And I was like, she was like, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" And I said, What are they? And they're little elemental energies that had come in, and they were just darting and flying everywhere. It was like, and we were like seeing color shoot off of each other, and we had not the first mushroom. Okay.
Never. Yeah.
We're seeing colors shooting off of each other. We're seeing these things flying around the room, and all we did was go into this great trance during about like this hour-long seance, and went back to our room, and because we shared a room, and went back to our room and just had this amazing experience.
I know. And Rachel Russell says, I'm on the edge of my seat. LOL. Why did you think you get so much activity, Julie? True.
Well, Fayon did a reading for me like way back before I had any understanding about why I had so much activity happening around me. And I'll let you say.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I want to add, she thought I was nuts when I said it.
Well, I didn't think you were nuts, but I was like, oh gosh, I don't know. But it took about 2 years of just that constant activity and real spiritual problems that I had to deal with. for me to, and got the guides like drilling it in with all kinds of visuals to show me what was happening. And it took me a long time to believe it. And now I believe it because, and when I finally believed it is when I got this stuff on video.
Yeah. And,
Where you
and
actually see these orbs coming out of my body. You see orbs
yeah.
coming out of my head, out of my arm. I slow them down. They turn into faces. So, Dayon, I'll let you answer.
Oh no, I was just going to say just for context, it was one of the first readings I ever did for Julie. And I was like, looking at her and I couldn't actually articulate what I was seeing. I was having a hard time because I'm like, there's no way what I'm seeing is right. And I was seeing basically a portal in her head, and that there was, spirits were very attracted to it and obviously going in and out of it. And I didn't understand that at that time, like what I was seeing. And I felt like, I obviously had never seen that before in somebody else. And I think after a while, Julie started realizing that she was, but, we showed this on a previous episode where Julie and I were actually doing a paranormal investigation. And I just happened to just flip up my infrared camera. It was like an infrared device that took, various shots of, if you don't know what an infrared camera is, it'll show heat and cool, like heat signatures. So right in the center of her forehead was and I'll show it briefly, was basically a portal.
There's a big blue dot.
Yeah.
And it was not my nose because it's in between my eyes. It's like right here. And and when she got that was when I got really cold because I was consciously trying to help rescue some spirits. And I knew I had portals by this time. I knew that there are portals in my energy field in my body. I know it sounds nuts, but dadgummit, I have it on video. I couldn't believe it until we got it on video. And then she got this picture with the infrared camera. And then I'm like, well, I guess my guides have been telling me the truth. I thought they were lying to me because they keep showing me this stuff, visually.
Yeah. And who also, who wants to believe that they have a portal in their head. So I don't blame you for thinking, and I don't blame you for thinking I was a little wacky.
Well, no, I didn't think you were wacky. I was like, that's really cool. There's the blue dot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cold. That means that's temperature. Yeah. Right. And that's a cold spot on my head. And I showed that when we went to the next paranormal investigation. It was this man who'd been doing paranormal investigations since the 80s. I showed that to him. He said he's never seen anything like it.
No. And neither have I. And he's been doing it since, like Julie said, since the 80s. And
since I was in high school.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I know. And
you were like 10, right?
I was 12. But still. But it's funny. Julie and I, for some reason, we have like this magnetic chemistry. We always have since we met. That her and I are very connected. And just kind of going back to that seance that we were talking about, I want to tell you there were at least 13 other people, I believe, at that seance, and it was only Julie and I that went into this trance. And and all I remember is my hands twitching, and I like somebody was talking for me, and I don't remember. I only remember visualizing Julie, like it was Julie and I in the room. And then I kept hearing, so we all had to take something that meant something to us from someone that passed that we love. And I took my mother's glasses and a penny that she that was like in her purse. And so I put the penny in the glasses case, and it's this hard case. So I have it on my lap, and I'm twitching like this, and then I start hearing boom, 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 like this coming from the box. It was the penny slamming against the case, but not because I was moving. It was literally trying to get out. It was shaking the case so badly that it was like going to fall. And I didn't have control of my hands to like grab it. And it was a really interesting thing because you know, a lot of the people in the seance, if you know, we did sort of like that old style from the 1800s kind of seance where you know, we were all kind of facing in a circle, and we were trying to get the trumpet, remember?
Oh,
We were
right.
trying to get the trumpet sound, because that was a very that was something that was a big part of that during that time, that it was like this. I don't know enough about it, but I just thought it was interesting that many of the at the seances, they would hear this trumpet play. So I don't think,
But they
I
would
don't
see
remember.
it. They would literally see one too.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
trumpet, yeah, just sort of materialize in the air, and just very interesting stuff. I definitely want to try that again. I think it
Yeah.
would be a lot of fun,
You know
especially with
what?
you and I.
Next time, I think, you know, in that seance, we were doing a lot of it was conscious mediumship, but with the seance, this is when you're after physical phenomena. And if we ever do it again, we have to have eyes open. People have to have eyes open, because everybody has their eyes closed and they're listening for messages to bring through. And there could have been all kinds of like visual phenomena and people didn't see it, you know,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have seen it because their eyes were closed.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting is mine weren't, because I was only staring at you, even though you were across the room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was strange. I don't know if stuff I couldn't have even told you, because it was like it was just you and I,
Yeah,
and
it's
it
for
like, and I couldn't
soul
see anything else.
sisters.
Yeah,
We're soul
exactly.
sisters.
Exactly. And it was just interesting, like that connection. And you know, going back to you know, some of our favorite paranormal investigations. I just found out recently that actually a couple days ago, maybe was it the 21st of October, in St. Augustine, they found a almost fully intact ship while they were digging under the ground, because they, you know, right by where the lions were the they were digging yeah, it was a shipwreck, and I guess they just, you know, built the road over it. And
Wow.
yeah, it was preserved because it, you know, obviously didn't have any air or anything like that. So they're still uncovering it, and I'm very excited to go back and check it out. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, as soon as you disrupt any kind of you know, like artifacts and things like that, there's, especially in St.
Activity.
Augustine, it's going to be a spirit party.
I mean, a lot of activity. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Activity.
absolutely.
And then they're doing that right here around Halloween, and when the veil is so thin anyway.
Yes, absolutely.
Speaking of which,
And Rachel goes, "Stop! What?"
yeah, yes, yeah, that was about your penny.
Yeah.
Look, speaking of speaking of which, okay, this happened. And I told you about this, but I'll tell everybody else about this too. This happened just a few days ago. I wake up, stuff happens at night, girl. I wake up probably 4 or 5, it's 5 in the morning when it's still dark, and I am hearing something I have never heard before. It sounded like the gates of hell had just opened up in my house. Okay. I'm hearing like, I heard some wind hitting the house. And then I heard, and it had that through the veil kind of sound, but it was moaning. It's like voices and upon voices moaning. It sounded like the very typical, stereotypical, like horror movie, like ghostly thing moan. And it scared me. Okay. And it takes a lot to scare me these days.
Right.
But it did scare me, got my heart rate up. and it lasted for about 3 seconds. And I'm looking at the cat, the dogs. I'm like, did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? And they're like, what? We're still sleeping.
Yeah.
And so I had to really work to bring my heart rate down, because that's one of the things the guides are working with me is controlling my responses when things like that happen. I have to really be in control of my body, because it blows the portals open when my heart rates go up, and then like stuff is coming out and it's just more problems. So I asked like
Oh, and I just want to what, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I asked him later, I'm like, what was that? What was that? And the only thing he said was the important thing is that you were in control. He said, the most important thing is you are in control. And so it's all this like, and I said, you did that on purpose just to scare me. You purposely try to wake me up and scare me so then I can bring my heart rate down and get in control. Well, anyway, I told our teacher, Deborah, about it. I just mentioned it to her, and all I said is the gates of hell, right? And she said, did it sound like a lot of people yelling, and like lots of people yelling and shouting? And I said, no. And she said, well, she had that. She said that happened to her the same week, but what she was hearing was all of this like yelling. And I said, well, that's interesting, but mine was moaning like a haunted house. And I said, she said, I think we're just tapping into, there's so much anger and there's so much death and tragedy in the world right now that we're like psychically like hearing this stuff.
Tuning into it.
Yeah, but Rachel, you're right. LMAO, that they were, it's like they do it to me all the time. They do, there's always something.
Yeah. And the other question, what do you understand her portal to be now? Does that make more sense to either of you now? Has it? Yeah, absolutely. I definitely know now, just from knowing Julie for all this time, that Julie just naturally is a portal, and portals are easily, sadly, easily built with that intention, right? So if you're opening yourself up to, and not that Julie just did it, I believe that's been with her probably all of her life, and she didn't realize it because she's always experienced activity wherever she goes. So
it really became activated about 6 years ago. And that when all of my activities really started, and I started looking for answers and seeking help, was about 6 years ago, and they became activated. So I don't think they were activated when I was younger. It was like a certain time of life they became activated. And I also have one here in my heart, and I have that on video of like some white fog like coming right out of my heart. But they've shown me that there are multiple. I have multiple. And they also said they felt sorry for me. I said, thank you.
Well, then help me out with this, I would say.
Yeah, they are. They are really helping me out, but it's been a lot of tough love and training me how to control it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, everyone, if you are listening and want a reading, please feel free to put in the chat. And like I said in the beginning, the Facebook chat, for some reason, we were on today with the Facebook, their chat, and they're having issues with it. So if you're on Facebook and are trying to get a reading or connect with us, it's better to maybe go to our, well, not maybe, but go to our Facebook if you're not able to, post on the chat. So, and that's just the same as Evolve, without the E, me.com, on YouTube. So,
can they like put in their question or whatever on Facebook, and then we can look at it later and respond to it later?
Sure. Yeah. If you can't get over to YouTube, then we'll definitely respond to those messages afterwards, for sure. And again, if you have any paranormal stories, any experiences, even stories about aliens, cryptids, all of these things, we definitely want to hear it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've got
Yeah.
UFO stuff too. I have UFO stories too. You know,
Oh,
people who have a lot of paranormal activity around them. I read this. There are other people who they have a lot of paranormal activity around them, also have UFO experiences.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that because I think once you're sort of open, hello, hi Rebecca. Yeah, feel free, Rebecca, if you have any questions you want to put in the chat. Julie and I are doing readings tonight and also talking about paranormal experiences. And hey there. And so while we're doing that, I do want to show one of I think it was our last paranormal experience.
Yeah.
And I've been dying to show this because it took me a long time to cut it perfectly so there's no lag. And it was very interesting. So we went to Virginia and
But don't say where.
yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, I'm into a place that I don't want to necessarily say why or say the name because we were told that any spirits there, we weren't allowed to cross them over, which I thought was odd because because it's like saying you can't let somebody out of jail that shouldn't be there. Yeah. I thought this was really cool. And there was a few of us. One of the people with us, she felt very connected to a few of these spirits. So you're going to hear some interesting things and hopefully it comes over because it was a little difficult, I think, at some points to understand, but I did put the words that they set up.
And then, yeah, and I'll tell you, and Thayon, she is quite the conversationalist with spirits on Spirit Box. I mean, she just blows me away, because she's like into it, man, and she's talking to them, and you can hear them in the Spirit Box.
Well,
I'm saying come back to her. I'm like, dang, girl.
Well, it's really funny because I'm like that with living people too. And Julie always makes the joke like everywhere we go, we have to stop because Than's talking to everybody, wants to know all about him. And that's very much how I am with spirits. I'm like, so how are you doing? How did you get here? And because I'm curious. And and it's funny is after you leave your body, you're not that different than you were when you left it, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of them, especially when there's a physical or I like to call them normies, no, I'm just kidding, are able to hear them, then of course they want to gab. And so here's our very detailed conversation. But yes, please feel free to put in any questions you may have. And Julie and I are going to be doing readings tonight. So we will definitely get to you. Let's see. All right. So here we go.
Okay, you got to turn your sound on.
Oh,
share sound.
Oops.
Yep, share
Oopsie.
sound on Zoom.
Oops, I'm putting in chats right now. Hold on. Okay, so share sound.
Yeah, go on Zoom and hit share sound.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. Yeah, we did cross over. We did cross over a couple of spirits.
Oh yeah. And that's why we can't stay where we were.
Rebecca says, I've been noticing a lot of things the past couple of weeks that I feel beyond this realm, like repeating numbers, finding dimes on the ground everywhere I go, electronic interruptions, and tuning into that medium experiences where I don't usually watch them. I was hoping you guys could tell me who's trying to reach out to me. That's cool. Okay, so let's do your spirit box, and then let's tune into what's going on with Rebecca, because
yes,
a lot going on.
I would love to. Yeah. So let's I'll play this real quick and then definitely want to get to Rebecca's question.
Right. And there's a larger guy that keeps butting in.
So here.
Yeah, I can hear it now.
Can you tell me how many
Perfect.
spirits are in this room? Would you like
You
us
gotta
to leave?
share your video.
I'm not sure. I thought I did. Okay. Interesting. So I am going to share screen as well. There we go. I thought I did. All right. You see it?
Okay. Yeah, now hopefully we can hear it.
Okay. I know, right? So I'll just go a little bit back.
No sound.
I'm sorry?
There's no sound.
No way.
I
Why?
wish-
Why?
This happened before. It's like when you share it, if we see the visual, we couldn't hear it. So you might have to share the
That's
sound
me.
again.
Yeah, it's interesting because I do this constantly and I'm not sure why. So, oh, stereo, let's see. And then, I'm sharing video. Wait, so computer audio, and then I'm going to share. I'm also going to share, this as well. So if that doesn't work, I'm done. Just kidding. Hold on. Now, do you see the video?
Yeah, well, I can see it in Slack.
Oh, good. Okay.
Okay, there.
So-
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
There's no sound.
That's,
Well, we might have to just try that again another time.
yeah, we can definitely. Oh, here we go. I'm sorry about that. Let's see.
Maybe hit share sound again.
Yes, share sound and then doing it one more time. I'm thinking it's going to work. All right. So I said, do you want us to leave? And then they said, wish not.
Good.
There's a young guy, and there's a larger guy that keeps butting in. My name is Theon, and this is Alice. Do you know Alice? I'd like to know your name. Are you both okay? Can we help you in some way? What is your name? What is her name? The lady in the red. She just said Theon. Is there any spirit here that would like to give us a message? Are there any spirits here that would like to speak to Alice as she started feeling and tasting blood? Can you tell her what that is? Do you know why there was so much blood? The young man, is there anything that you want to tell us? Are you playing music for us? Who is this that's speaking now? Because there's two of you, right? Or is there more? We're going to sing you Amazing Grace.
Oh, you don't want to hear this.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Do you like this song? You want us to sing it one more time? Okay, we'll sing you a Christmas carol.
Like, no.
And let us know what the song is that we're singing.
Fine.
Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Okay, what song was that? Yes, he got it. Can you sing the song? What is the song's name?
That's crazy.
Can you
Yeah,
tell me how many spirits are in
yeah,
this room?
right. That was an awesome like night, right? There
Yeah,
was so especially because this was a military area and
yeah, well, I mean, we're going back to the like mid 1800s here. This was
yeah.
mid 1800s.
Yeah, and so there were a couple of soldiers. So it was really cool. Oh, and then so hi
Very
CB
much.
Bags, how are you? Yeah, we're doing readings tonight. So feel free to add your question.
You
Right now
know
we're about
what?
to get to Rebecca. Mhm.
Oh, you know what? And it was that night too. I saw something very unexplained in the sky because after we crossed over those spirits, I went outside because I said my job is done. I don't need to do anything else. And I went outside and laid in the grass, and this is it's not it's like 11 p.m., right? And our friend Melanie, she came across me. I scared her to death, but she sat in the grass with me. We laid back because it was the Perseids meteor shower. So we're just like, the sky was gorgeous. And we're watching these meteors. And I was telling Melanie about us crossing over those spirits because she wasn't in there. But anyway, we were talking about that. And I said, I feel like I have a purpose now. I feel like I have a purpose now. And just as I said it, there was this huge explosion in the sky. It went boom, boom, like this white boom, boom up there. And Mel's like, did you see that? I'm like, I saw it.
You should have talked about that last week when she was with us.
Yeah, I think it was a UFO. It was a UFO. I said, oh, but it is the Perseids meteor shower. It could have been an exploding meteor, but damn it, that was cool. And it happened just when I said that. So this is gonna bond us forever, Melanie. We just saw this like amazing thing in the sky.
That's incredible. Wow. I wish I were there. I mean, because Julie had kind of stepped out for a minute and I was still kind of lost in conversation.
You're doing your
And
thing. I was in the grass chilling, man, watching
I
the
know.
sky, and that thing happened. And I was
That
just so
must have been
glad that Melanie was there and saw it too, because it's like somebody sees something cool with me, and it's
Yeah.
not me seeing it.
Absolutely. That was I would have loved to seen that. And yeah, so and Rebecca's question, I will pull out my glasses for
Oh
this
yeah,
one
yeah,
because
yeah,
um
yeah. I'll let you read that again.
yeah, so medium experience where I don't usually watch them. I was hoping that you guys could tell me who is trying to reach out to me. Oh, I love it.
So
So
she's
this
got
is
she's the past couple of weeks. She's had repeating numbers, finding dimes on the ground everywhere she goes, electronic interruptions. There's somebody definitely trying to get her attention. And these are not
yeah.
common ways to do it. The repeating numbers that you might see on the clock or on the highway, or like 1111, 3333. I mean, just these kind of numbers. And then there's the dimes are very common.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
electronic interruptions. Okay.
As soon as I heard dimes, I kind of automatically felt this is a loved one. This is at first when I'm hearing like a lot of activity around you, I'm thinking it's your a spirit guide or something like that. But it definitely feels like an energy that is trying to connect with you for some reason. Like the dimes and things like that seem to be related to a family member. And Julie, feel free to jump in as I'm connecting with who that would be. So
You keep going.
yeah.
And I'll tell you something about dimes too, is maybe I won't tell you about dimes. I'll save that for another show.
Yeah.
I'm definitely feeling like there's someone that wants to reach out to you. I feel like there are different family members, but there's like this grandmother I'm getting this older woman, like a grandmother or great grandmother or somebody like that, who's like a guide for you. But is there something that's going on in your life right now that they want to bring your attention to? So not just about the like, okay, pay attention. This is spirit reaching out to you, and we're giving you these synchronicities because we want you to understand that spirits are reaching out to you. But what's going on in your life? And I'm not going to get personal or anything or ask you to get personal, but just think about, is there something going on in your life where there may be an alarm bell going on?
Yeah.
And they want to get your attention. So you go ahead, Thayon.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was keening in on. Keening? It feels like you know, our loved ones are always around us, but it does feel like this is attached to something that you're going through in your life. It's funny because I do feel your grandmother, but I've met your grandmother in spirit already. So what I want to say is it does feel like there's actually more of multiple spirits. So it's like I do feel your grandmother, but I'm also feeling someone of that passed around your age group. When this could be a childhood friend. But it feels like a young woman is, kind of stepping forward, and she is really, she's kind of like, I hear wild child. Like she was like a really free spirited person that, I'm not sure who she is, maybe a good friend or someone you knew at school. But there's a reason why she's coming forward, and also kind of around your space. And that has to do with similarities within her life to your current situation. So if Rebecca, if you're still here, let us know if any of that sort of feels resonant with you.
Yeah. And I'm also feeling like spirit guide as well. Spirit guide that there are multiple beings, they're not beings, they're people on their side that are trying to warn you. They're trying to get your attention about something. It has to do with choices.
Yes.
Something about choices that you're confronted with, or choices that you need to make, and they want you to slow down a little bit and take your time as you're looking into your future and the choices that you're making. And if there's people in your life, is there a person in your life or a guy in your life or somebody in your life that they want you to take a step back and be a little more objective about what's going on and make better choices?
Yeah. And
They
I
don't
keep
want
hearing,
you to get hurt. They don't want you to get hurt.
yes. And I keep feeling like she's stubborn. She doesn't want to see it. And that's part of the message is like, move your stubbornness aside and really look at the situation. That's really on point. I'm coming up on transitions in life, where they could really be life changing. Yes. Absolutely. So, my feeling is that they are wanting to point you into a new way of viewing it, because you're sort of seeing it with tunnel vision, but you need to open it up and see what reality is what they're kind of saying.
Wake up. Yeah. Wake up.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting is when Thayon said this new perspective, that perspective is going within. And you're not spending enough time just being quiet and going within. And I've got a paper and a pen. They're saying, start writing things down and journaling things down and processing things. And, and we say it all the time, meditate, meditate, meditate. Well, damn it, meditate.
Yeah. And because if you don't, just try. Yeah. Just try like 5 minutes. Yeah.
You will not learn to understand your own mind. If you are not quiet and you do not go within and observe what's happening in your mind.
Yes,
And
because I
learning
see
to-
noise.
Yeah. Learning to quiet it down. When you can quiet it down, then you can hear your own higher guidance. You can hear your own self think, and not just based on what everybody else is saying or what you think
Yeah.
you should do or think you should think. And I hope this is making sense to you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and absolutely, and I'm seeing a lot of where the noise around you, and when I say noise, I mean other people's opinions, your need to help or be something for somebody is clouding what is truly good for Rebecca. And there's always noise. I struggle with helping and healing other before myself. Yes, absolutely. This makes perfect sense. Yeah. And that's why, like, even brief meditations, like, if I myself couldn't do that in the beginning because I have ADHD and I never thought that would be possible. Now I do sometimes 4-hour meditations like a crazy person, but
Train your
no.
brain. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not just, this isn't just about your spirit, you're also training your brain.
Yes, because we all are, have, conditioning around our thoughts and conditioning around our minds. I said this, and Rachel will know, our mind will never tell us the truth. It's not even what it's designed for. It only sees what its conditioning allows. So, that's why I always say, don't think with your head, go to your heart space, because your body, your heart space will never lie to you. And but your head will. So
And other people will too. Other people will too.
yes.
Because this is it, and I'm getting this for you too, Rebecca. It's about what are other people's expectations of you, your behavior and your thinking. This is my social psychology teacher self coming out now. Other people, what they say, what you think they think, and what you think they perceive will affect your own behavior. And you have to ask yourself, am I doing this because this is the right thing? Or am I doing this because this is what other people expect of me?
Right.
And if it's because what other people are expecting of you, this can lead to a crash. It can lead to a crash. So
yeah. Oh, absolutely. I was just going to say, and understand this. Sometimes that can be a really tough thing to reprogram that, because I do feel like from most of your life, you've always had to, in order to get by, you had to, sort of be something for somebody, or let's say gain acceptance. And this is not a bad thing, because we all have this to an extent. But I think this is something that you need to look deeper into, is the fact that you sort of you kind of get driven around by some of these, because you want to please, and you want to please the people that you're with, but so it will take some time to clear. But when you acknowledge it and you say, okay, wait, is this, and just like Julie said, stop and say, is this good for me? Or is this good for this person?
yeah.
And
where's my motive? What's motivating me? Look, and Rebecca said she just discovered she has ADHD. Right.
See,
and now, Theon, you are such a walking testament that you have ADHD. You can learn to focus your mind. You literally meditation literally changes your brain. You can see it in brain scans. It changes it thickens the parts of the neocortex that are involved in attention and focus. So yes, you can do it. You just start off slow. Don't have the expectations, and just do it. It takes practice.
Absolutely. Yeah. And there's in especially with ADHD, there's a point where you actually go into hyper focus mode. So like the focus part of us is wonky. That's the scientific term. No, I'm just kidding. but we either are like, squirrel every 5 seconds, or
Oh, you're
we
so funny.
or we are like so focused that people can't like get our attention. So it is just about balancing it, and just because I'm a testament like to that extent where just because you have ADHD doesn't mean that you're not capable of doing anything that anybody else can do. So
Exactly.
you start off,
Pilot
it's
girl.
always steps. Yeah, right. And it's always steps. It's like 5 minutes. If I can do 5 minutes and pretend a waterfall is pouring into my body in space, then that's going to be helpful. And and then the next time bring it up to 10. And that's just really how I did it. And any amount of clearing is going to be helpful to you. So definitely focus on that.
And the visualizations are what really helped you, right? Being able to really just focus on visualizations.
Yes.
Now, and
Yes.
some people, like the Zen way, is to focus on the breath, and then you watch your thoughts go by, and that is so freaking boring. But it is a good way.
I know. Because it's almost like you have to read. You know what I mean?
It is a good way to learn the contents of your mind. And I've gotten really, really good at understanding my own mind, but it's through years of practice. So the visualizations may help you, Rebecca. So Rebecca said, wow, Julie, I do that so often. I live in a household where it's really heavy expectations, and fulfilling them is how I was taught to show love. You, Rebecca, are not alone. You are not alone on that. Learning self-love is so much different. It is, and Carl Rogers there's a name for this. Oh, darn it. It's been a while since I taught that. There's a name for it. Carl Rogers said that children learn this as they're growing up, that to be worthy of love, and acceptance is about what they do and how they behave to their parents. Conditions of worth, that's what it's called. And we grow up with these conditions of worth, and it just brings us further and further away from ourselves. So then when we're adults, people go to therapy to come back to themselves, to let those conditions of worth. So you are worthy just because you are Rebecca Russell. You are an amazing human being, regardless of what it is that you do or don't do. You are worthy of love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And and listen, we all do. And it's very funny because I recently had one of those instances where I said to myself, like, I didn't know that it was a thing because it's so deep in there that you don't actually think that it's that it is until you kind of get hit with that hurdle. Like, well, wait, why can't I try to make this decision for myself? Why is all of these other things coming in? That's because we haven't really dealt or tried to focus on that or heal it. And now that you're recognizing it already, even before we could say it, I mean, you knew what was going on. I actually have been trying to meditate, and I have found what works for me is visualizing butterflies. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's funny, as I always love to see butterflies in my meditations too. Maybe because they do this, and we need to be stimulated.
They're about transformation. There's spiritual transformation too.
Absolutely. There's someone pointing. Oh, thank you so much. And Sleepy Bag says, I like all the funny visualizations, interpretations, but just for a suggestion, I know it's hard just to sit there and try to set yourself up for meditation. I would recommend guided meditation until you get the hang of, why can't I see, of just what hang of just doing it on your own. And hey, Than and Julie, it's good to see you. I know. Thank you so much.
I
I
wish
know
I could
you.
see you.
Yeah, I know. You don't remember. You remember Sleepy Bags from they used to come on when we would do the lives on Instagram.
Oh, that gosh, that's been a
Yeah,
while too, hasn't
yeah,
it?
yes,
Yeah,
and I know. I'm so happy to see you here.
yeah, yeah. But and you know
Oh,
what, she's exactly right. Doing guided meditations is a very good way to start. And Thayon has just posted a beautiful guided meditation on YouTube, on Evolve Me's YouTube. So you've got
yes.
to check that one out. She was playing that for me, and I was just really getting face, man. I'm like, wow. So
Yeah.
she has all this chime music and it's really nice, and her voice is, just so soothing and comforting.
Oh, thank you so much. And it's funny, it was Rachel will be familiar with that one. So definitely check it out. And it definitely was really great to to actually just be able to do that. It was one of those things where you just I didn't expect anything and it felt very inspired. So hopefully it'll help you too. And yes, the chimes do help for for me too, because then it gives me points of focus. So oh, chimes are my favorite part. I asked my spirit team to let me know they are near with chimes. Yeah, they on yeah, and boom. I
Yeah,
just realized that. See?
yeah.
Exactly. And it's so funny because you know um eh, eh, especially when I hear that and when I'm trying to train my brain, I always hear those kinds of chimes, and I come to realize that that is the same for me. Is that I do hear a certain kind of chime when specific spirit guides come in. That's cool, Rach. Syncing all together. Yeah. This was my question for y'all. I would love to get closer with my spirit team. Can you tell me what you get? And if you have time. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So Rachel wants to know how she can get closer to her spirit team. So what we're going to do is Julie and I will connect with your team and see what would be most helpful. Let's see.
That dream time is coming in. Pay attention to your dreams, because one way that they talk with you is through your dreams. So it'd be helpful, if you don't already, to keep a pad and a pen by your bed and just write things down that you hear or you see during the night in your dream time. And they're also saying, gosh, Rachel, they're saying you're doing just fine.
Yeah.
You're doing fine, and you've got expectations on yourself too. So there's a process. There's a process with learning to feel and hear them, or see their messages, or pick up on their messages. And it's a process of time. So just talk to them. Talk to them and get quiet. And then go with what are you feeling? What feelings coming in? What thoughts coming in? And just having these conversations with them. Just having conversations with them will bring you closer to them. And I'm going to stop and let Thayon say what you're going to say.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because it's sometimes what I like to say to you is get out of your own head, you're already doing it. That's kind of what how I see them communicating with you are very much like you're saying, or the chimes, but you get a lot of knowings that comes, and it comes in it almost feels like a thought that you didn't even know existed, that just kind of comes into your head. They communicate with you that way. Another way is through specific songs and things like that. So it may not be the communication that you feel in control of right now, but as you're developing, it's going to get more controlled. I think that's what I'm seeing is like it's already happening, and be sort of like accept the stage that you're in right now, because there's a lot of clearing that you need to do of sort of like, am I or am I not kind of feeling, so, but you're still getting communicated with regardless of that. And like you'll see something on like synchronicities, you'll see something on TV and be like, what, I just experienced that, and now I'm seeing it again. Like, that's them communicating, and that's how they communicate a lot. I do see your, your family members, your loved ones that come in, like Julie was saying too, is in your dreams. And, but on your regular, daily things, it's almost like, I don't know why I saw this scenario, but, but like, it's almost like I see these big hands, kind of going like this to you. Kind of going like this to you as you're walking, like, oh, don't go off that cliff. Like, they're definitely guiding you. And I guess that's their symbology. But like they're guiding you, and you're just kind of like walking through, and you're being guided. You just need to learn to acknowledge that there are these massive hands that are pushing you around.
Right. And trust what
That
you're
makes sense.
getting, and trust
Yeah.
what you're getting from them. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
and that's big what Theon said, that thoughts will, and you think it's your own thought, but sometimes these thoughts are inspired by your guides. So
Yeah.
just, pay attention and just keep working it and keep meditating, because it is a process of, it just takes time.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sleepy Bag says, so is seeing synchronicity connected to my angels, or also possibly spirits around, or a little of both? Yeah, actually, well, yeah, it's funny is, there are specific angels that are, you are with you, they're your guides and things like that. And so they're kind of like along with your spirit team. Right. So they have various ways, I guess, based on what you resonate with. So I know somebody that sees all of her, even past loved ones, in color only. So like one is purple, one is green, one is it. And but given that energy of what she's seeing, she knows them. It's not like, like you would know me from my face and you would know Julie from her face, but it's just another way of recognizing them. So you'll get synchronicities in both ways. Like, it's almost like your guides or loved ones will put in certain, like, connect with you in ways that will make sense to you. If that makes sense.
A song
Yeah.
on the radio, when you're just having this happens to me a lot. A song on YouTube or a song on the radio when I'm thinking about something, or I'm mulling over a problem, or there's some issue or whatever, and there's a message in the song, and just hearing it on the radio. And then also the songs that play in your head. Well, and the ones you just can't get it. I'm like, why is this playing in my head? Listen to the lyric. What is the message in the lyric? Because these synchronicities too. And see, and I'm also getting for you, Sleepy Bags, that this is yes, this is about your angels and spirits, but this is also about yourself. This is also about your own soul, your own higher there, because our souls aren't just in our body. Our souls are multidimensional. They exist outside of us. And there is a part of you that is all knowing, an all knowing, wise part of yourself that your brain is just not necessary. And none of us, our brains are totally like synced up with it. And synchronicities are a way that they can get these, that you just get these for yourself.
Absolutely. And even your higher self will give you synchronicities and
that's
signs.
what I mean by your soul.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean your higher self. That's
Yeah.
what I mean. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And so, again, it's really more about what you like resonate with. Some people will see numbers repetitively. Some people, like Julie said, songs and there's my mother used to get like pennies everywhere, like specific pennies, like they had to be in the 80s. And like, and she would always, if it was in the 80s, she knew it was this, and there was just no way of knowing why that she knew that, you know, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So, but it's interesting. And Rebecca said, whenever I watch the internet with any of the Evolve Me tea, my body always feels tingly. Oh, so cool. It's such a powerful message, energy. Oh, absolutely. And, I'm so happy that resonates for you. And let's see. Oh, and Rachel says, visualize that and maybe get, a closer connection, but I get, oops, kind of went here. Oh, but I get the songs. I'm like a little old lady. But I get the songs downloads while reading. But I want to know deeper.
That'll come. That'll come. And I'm just getting, again, I think I was getting this for Rebecca too, Rachel, but write down your question and meditate. And then when you're done meditating, start writing the answer without thinking. Without even thinking, try that out, a little automatic writing.
Yeah. And just remember, we're in control, and I've said this before, like, I see a lot of people when, they come into realizing that they can connect with their abilities, because everybody has them. Just some people will, connect, with them initially or whatever. But, we have the power to say, okay, when you get that symbol, ask what it is. Like, say, okay, so why am I getting the symbol? And sit. And I know that's going to be hard, but this is a test in both ways, where, okay, so I'm gonna be patient with receiving what comes through, and know that what you're going to receive and how you're going to receive it is going to be that it's going to come in the way that it needs to. So like, this is what I would do. I used to expect that I was always going to see the thing. But sometimes I hear it audibly, and then sometimes I feel it in my body, or sometimes it's, like it's a knowing. So just be open to receiving the answer to whatever question you're asking, in whatever way that it comes through. And but always, one thing we Julie and I were always taught is, you don't just visualize something, you interact with it. You like you hold the flower, you smell the flower, instead of just like, when somebody says visualize a flower, you don't just look at a flower and just whatever. You're touching the flower, smelling the flower, feeling the softness of the petals. That's fully immersing yourself into putting that point of focus to your visuals, but also sensing everything.
Right.
So when you say, okay, this sign, now hold that sign in front of you, and then just interact with it. Even sometimes go inside it, see what happens when you imagine yourself going inside that sign, and what comes up. Just know that you are going to receive the answer. It's just about you opening up to it. So it's not like your guides are here and there and not paying attention. There's some part of them that is always with you. So they will be able to respond, and they do respond. It is only us that blocks that communication. We'll say, well, it's funny. I was just thinking about a bologna sandwich, but out of nowhere. But maybe that's the answer, is this bologna sandwich. What does that bologna sandwich mean? You know what I mean? Like, if you're looking at something and some thought or something comes out of the blue, that's usually the message.
Right.
So,
and then here's the thing too, trust it when you get it. But and you can say, well, what if it was my imagination? Well, that's one way the spirit could talks to us, is through what seems like imagination, because it's happening in your mental space. But just check in with yourself, put your hand on your heart, take that answer, breathe into it. How does that feel in your body? If it has a deep resonance and you just know that this is the right answer, then this is the right answer, and trust it.
Yeah. And that's your trust. That's where you
logic.
go. Trust.
I mean, you apply logic too. It's good to apply your logic to your intuition as well. And yeah.
Yeah. And also, there's a difference too, right? Your imagination is the picture that you like, what was the scenario? If I say, I think of my dog, I'm automatically see that picture of my dog. But if somebody says, here, this is my dog, and, slams their picture right in your face, you didn't expect it, then you know that
Right.
wasn't something that you made
Yeah.
up, right?
Sometimes you just know it's like that was not my thought. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And
Exactly.
see,
So,
this is the value of meditation. Is when
oh
you
yeah,
spend a lot of time meditating and you do this every day, you get to understand your own mind. So then when there's information that's coming in from another source, you understand the difference. And it
absolutely.
takes time and it takes practice. It takes a lot of, and we've got like, oh my God, hours and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of practicing that. And it just takes time. So look,
Absolutely.
Sleepy Bag says,
I know.
well, funny enough, I woke up to 3:33 a.m. this morning,
Yeah.
and when I went for a run, go girl, you went for a run at 3:33? No way, you didn't. I went for a run. I kept seeing 777, which is just
That's
something I've been curious about. Yeah.
That's funny. And we're also thinking about bologna sandwiches together too, which is interesting because that was the funniest. And I miss you for that. I miss that that amazing humor that you have. And I always see 777. That is actually my favorite number in the world. I was actually born in 77. And so it was like, oh, I just told everybody how old I was. I don't care.
You're not
But
very old.
I was born no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that's amazing. Like it's very interesting how we do see the synchronicities, but for some reason, once we start really plowing into why we're getting them is when it really starts opening up, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, you just can't. And then the more you trust it and the more you pay attention, the more will happen. And that,
Yeah.
333, 777. And so these numbers can have personal, I see repeating numbers all the time. I don't even know what the heck they mean.
Me too. Yes. Like I'll see 1, 2, 3, 4,
mean.
like 1234 all the time, or
Yeah.
711. And it is definitely a message. So I will say like, but it's funny because I'm usually in my own head all day. So so when I see it, it's like I match it to what I was saying. Like I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like that was an acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll say, or what was I just thinking about? Or what was I just doing? Or what was I just reading? And then whatever that was, and I'll see this common repeating number. It's like a little signal from my guides or angels that I'm on the right track.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is, it's sometimes it's just to attract your attention to it, to
Yeah.
say, look, I acknowledge what you just did or what you just said. So think about think about what you were doing.
And I have one that's a warning number, because 111, if I see 111, like it's specific times, like in a synchronistic way, it's a warning for me. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you know what's funny is one day I saw 222, 333, 444, and 555. I was like, and I kept calling my husband because he was at work. And I was like, Ben, guess what? It's 222. And and I was like, I don't know why, but because I was open to it. I was open to seeing it.
When you get the 22s, and if you study numerology too, this can help with the numbers. But like you can see 22 or 2222. This is about relationships for me. This is about harmonious relationships. And friendships. It's about friendship and relationships.
That's interesting because I was just talking to you at the time.
Yeah. Go ahead, read the next one, Thayon.
If I can, let's see. Definitely see where you guys are coming from, and I like the fact that certain songs come out because they're so precise and so selective. It's almost too funny to be a coincidence. Absolutely, but definitely agree. And then Rachel gave us some hearts. I heart you back, Rachel. I was thinking about a blue sandwich too. How did you determine that it was a warning, Julie? Good question.
I've determined it was a warning just through like multiple, okay, so I have a lot of spirit activity. I have a lot of communication during the night. And my guides will show me symbols and they'll show me numbers that are associated with certain things that happen. And so
Right.
it was just a matter of time and making that association that when I see 111, because they've shown it to me, they'll like flash a cell phone with 1:11 on it. All right, and they'll show other symbols associated with 1:11. And so then that's how I came to understand. But I can be hard-headed and I can be thick, and it can take a while for something to get through to me. So
You
it's
can
a
get a
lot
little
of
mean to them too.
it's a lot of associations and a lot of repetition, and I'll finally get it.
Yeah.
And so that's one that I got. I finally got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, one thing I always like to remind people of is don't be you know, don't think that your spirit team is in any way you know, let's say higher than you, or you know, they're here to help you within this life. And you are they're your team. They're not you know, they're not somebody that is going to save you. They're not going, you know, it's not about that. It's about utilizing your team to help you.
Right.
And so
And you have to
never
ask. You have
right.
to
And
ask. They're not
yeah,
just going to step in without, yeah.
yeah,
Unless
that's not even what they're supposed to do. They're supposed, you put them here in certain periods of your life that they needed to come through to help you get to a certain stage, or sometimes stay with you for your entire lifetime. But
you're in real danger, unless you're in real danger,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
They'll step in, you know, that's what you have guardians for. They'll step
Right.
in if you're in real danger and, you know, it's not your life path that you are to have this experience, or, you know, be injured or killed or
Right.
traumatized.
Yeah. How many times, like anybody out there, how many times did you know that, you know, you should have died and for
Yeah.
some reason you didn't? Yeah. Me
Yeah.
about 1,000,000 times.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you and I both.
yeah.
And have, yeah, and I'm sure there are, and I would love to do a show on this sometime if there are people out there who would like to come on with some of their stories too, but about those times where, yeah, where there was divine intervention that stepped in when you needed the most, where you could have died, or you could have been hurt, or you could have been traumatized.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are great stories. The
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. Like I hear stories about people like were in a car accident and a rod went right near their face, and it could have just, if they moved like this for a second, they turned to I think it was like to talk to their child or something like that, and it went like that. So you know, we all have these incredible stories, and Julie and I love to, as you know, love to talk and love to hear stories from everybody, and
angel stories. I mean, gosh, angel
yes,
stories. We need to do,
absolutely.
especially when we get around Christmas time, we need to do like angel show.
Oh, can I do a first one? My favorite one was all of my life I have had this real connection with Archangel Michael. And
Oh yeah.
yeah, and it was like even my mother, we all, and this is even before I even tapped into my ability, is that I just had this, like, every time I heard the name Archangel Michael, it felt like family. Like I loved hearing about him even as a kid. However, my son, when he was born, I didn't really this was sort of post you know, me starting to come out of the you know, the Catholic religion. So I didn't really talk about archangels, and by the way, he was 3 at the time. That you know, we just didn't talk like that. And he, from the moment he could talk, he would just he was extremely intuitive, and you know, I could tell you many stories about that. But when I was walking up the stairs, And my son goes, kept looking and he goes, Mom, Archangel Michael's right behind you. No, he didn't say Archangel, excuse me. He said, Michael's behind you, Michael. And I was like, what? I go, who's Michael? He goes, Angel Michael. He's right there like that. Like he thought I could see him at the time.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, and that made me so happy that he was also, with my son. So, like it tells you a lot how much, these angels and our guides are always with us. It takes the innocence of a child to sometimes clear out some of that. He wasn't already too programmed at that point. So he was wide open. And, and that's just because of his age. We all have the capability of going back to that, by the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think all can. And here's the other thing. Everyone has intuition. Everyone has the ability to receive information from other sources. Everyone has the ability to communicate with their guides. Here's the thing. Not everyone has developed it. Or as a child, if they had this and were open, you shut it down. It's like your imaginary friends. I had an imaginary horse, or I had an imaginary man who lived in my head when I had a very bad day at school, and I would go to sleep at night and I could see him and visualize him and talk to him and feel so much better. And I just thought he was I had a name for him and everything. And I just thought he was just like this imaginary man. But now I realize, damn, that was a spirit guide. I was actually doing that when I was 12 and 13. And I didn't know it, and then you shut that stuff down as you get older, because that's just what society does. But some people leave it open. I shut a lot down and then opened back up again and shut it down. And now I'm just wide open.
Yeah.
So,
and it's funny is my son for a time there, he I think it was like junior high, and he's too cool for everything. He kind of like didn't really talk about it. And now actually, now that he's a sophomore, he's talking a lot more about it again. And like, so, especially with me, I was very open as a kid and shut it down for many years, and then came back to it. So, whether we shut it down or not, it's always going to be there, waiting for you. It's, some people will just, especially when it comes to family line, if you have intuitives in your family line, that's more likely that you're going to be open to it at birth. But that doesn't mean that person is any more intuitive than another. It's like saying, I have 2 legs and that person has more 2 legs than I have. It doesn't make any sense. It's still an ability that we're all, and
Yeah.
So
and then people can be activated at different times of their lives too. Like I've been on and off most of my life, but I was going to say too, it's not just about genetics, because they say that, psychic abilities can be genetically inherited. Well, yeah, maybe so, but I think it's also an aspect of learning, because if you have a mother, you see these women who are witches, like good witches. They're witches and they come from a line of witches. And so
like the one we met, remember? I love her.
And also with psychics, they inherit these abilities, but also from a very early age, they learn to accept them,
right.
And they're learning it from someone else, and they're very, very lucky to have that. So, so it's not just about inheriting something. It's also about having family members that you learn from and you learn to accept it from, and it's like normal.
Yeah.
Which was not the case for me. I mean, I think I inherited it from my grandmother, but I never met my grandmother until, now in spirit. She died when I was 3, and I never even met her when I was a baby. So she was, a medium. She was, but it was always the stories in the family. But that stuff was not talked about in my family. so much.
Absolutely. And I mean, yeah, I definitely feel like and it's funny is that the tendencies team seems to be the same too, right? Like where I know my son is very visual and audible or audible. Like he audible. But yeah, he hears and he senses. He's very empathic too. Like but and that those are some of my stronger points too. But then then I see other people and it's funny, not within my family, we all have those same sort of traits. Like I recently was like connecting with one of my sisters who never really thought they were intuitive, but we were doing something and she started talking about, like I said, I made a joke and it was funny because the voices in my head, I thought everybody had the voices. She goes, wait, no, not everybody has those. I'm like, you're older than me. You didn't know that. Like, that's actually not normal. And, so sometimes you don't even know that you've had them. One thing I noticed,
so normal.
Right. As you start opening yourself up, you're going to say, oh my gosh, that makes sense to when, I was experiencing that and I didn't even realize it. How many times, Julie, do we say, oh my gosh, and I didn't even realize it all my life I did this, just like you said about the man living in your head, which was a portal.
I think it was the spirit guide. I think it was the spirit guide.
Well, he came through the portal. No, I'm just kidding. But right, like you just don't realize it. Like, that many of us have that my sister actually had the funniest little, she had a little cowboy, all of our lives. I didn't have like, my gosh, what are they called? Imaginary friends. But she did. And she's one that doesn't believe she's even intuitive. I'm like, so again, maybe later on that will be revealed to her that when she's ready, and I just saw something that just flew by, when she's ready. Yeah. So, take a deeper look into yourself. And I guess that's the moral of today, right? Take a deeper look into the world around you. What are you seeing? And even if you don't feel like you resonate with being intuitive, maybe when you get like an image or a thought that kind of comes out of nowhere, just ask the universe. Just say, what does that symbol mean? And then just wait for an answer.
And it will come quick.
Yeah.
What's the first thing? It'll come quick. Look, I know we have to end because we're way over time, but I have to tell you, I just have to say this one thing because we're on this thing about imaginary friends and horses. When it really kind of hit me that maybe there is something to this imaginary friend and imaginary horses thing was when I was a kid, I had an imaginary Lipizzaner stallion horse that was white, beautiful. And I literally as a kid would go out in the backyard and I've got my whip and I'm training it, and I look, I'm a kid. I mean, people don't think have psychosis when you're doing stuff like that as a kid, but I'm doing all this, I'm training my horse in the backyard. And I used to do this a lot and I could see it so clearly. And I just imagined it so clearly. Well, it's about 2 years ago, we were doing practice readings. And that one of the fellas that was in the group with us did a reading on me, and it was mediumship reading. And he started describing this white stallion in a field that my uncle, who had passed away, was showing him. So he had described, my uncle. He was talking about my uncle, and he said he's just pointed over into his pasture, and there's this white stallion. He said, that's your horse. The pasture. And I'm like, you're shitting me. Wow. And because nobody knew about the white horse, except for my brother. I mean, he knew that I was a little nuts doing stuff like that when I was a kid. But he described this like beautiful horse, just sounded just like my white Lipizzaner stallion.
What an amazing, I love that. Especially, we love animals so much, and they're very drawn to you. And
And my uncle never knew about this horse. My uncle never knew
really,
about it. No, he didn't know about this horse, but apparently in spirit, he's showing, you know.
he's like,
this,
I see your
look,
friend
there's
here.
that white stallion. That's your horse.
Yeah. That's amazing. Oh, and hi, wait, Anna,
Anna.
excuse me. I'm like,
Hello.
Sorry, I've been putting my glasses on and off. But yeah, and unfortunately we're going to have to close out today, but Julie and I will be back next week, right? We're going to be doing more paranormal conversations and readings, and this is going to be a big what do you love to say, and which I love too, is we're gonna sit by the bonfire or the computer screen. Right?
On the computer screen. Get your
Yes,
glass
and
of
tell,
wine.
yeah, exactly. And tell
Stories.
paranormal stories. I want to say ghost stories, but it could be any
It's
stories.
more than
Like,
that. We're
yeah,
not just about ghosts and haunted. I mean, that we're about anything.
yeah, past life,
Yeah.
remembering things like that, like near death
Deja vu,
experiences, deja vu.
angels,
Yes,
aliens. Yeah.
everything. And
Anything.
we love to do readings on it too. So let's say you have an experience that you just can't quite understand. Let us know. We'll do a reading on it live for you and see really what's coming, what's going on there. Yeah, we'd love to. So definitely come back next week, and we'd love to have this amazing conversation like we had today. And thankfully, I love that Sleepy Bags came today. We've missed you.
Me too.
And yeah,
Me too.
right. And so we hope you all have a wonderful wonderful night and wonderful week. And thank you for joining the paranormal meeting.
Yeah, and where you can find us on Evolve Me, where we both offer services. So I do paranormal consultation and also intuitive life coaching. So that's, it's more than just a reading, because I get in there with the psychology stuff too. And
Absolutely.
do intuitive
Yeah.
life coaching and general readings. I do general readings also.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Dayon does it all. She does it.
I just like to throw my hat in everywhere. Yeah. And I actually every Thursday I have a intuitive development circle. I call it a psychic circle, but we're really touching on mediumship, remote viewing, intuitive reading, things like that, like really developing our intuitive muscles. So that happens as a circle every Thursday. And I was having it on a subscription basis, but I think it would be good for people to try it out one at a time if they'd like. So definitely check that out on Evolve Me, and also a remote viewing circle and a mentorship program. So if you want to develop that
great
muscle more.
teacher. She's a great teacher, a great mentor. So check her out.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, definitely. And one of my favorite people, especially, how did that happen? My camera
Hi.
just turned off. Hello. I guess that's my spirits telling me I have to go, because for some reason, oh, there you are. I told you I keep seeing the, anyway.
Yeah,
So,
they're messing with your electronics there.
Yeah, they're like, cut it short now. But yes, love you all. And thank you again for coming, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye, Julie.
Bye.
Bye, Julie Star.
I'll talk to